So I cheated in college and I got busted. Stick around if you want to hear how it went down. So welcome to episode 13 of I Have No Idea What I'm Doing. After a short hiatus for vacations and other busyness, we're back in the saddle with new videos on the way. If this is your first time, I'd encourage you to subscribe via Facebook or YouTube, and even go back and watch some previous episodes. So yeah, I cheated in college. And yes, I got caught. The quick backstory is that when I was an 18-year-old knucklehead, and that, like most freshmen, didn't really take my first year or two of school all that seriously. So everybody had to take biology as a freshman. And I knew from day one of the class that we would be having to turn in a sizable research paper on an animal. And the paper itself would account for 30% of our final grade in the class. And if you do the math, going the route of not turning in the paper means your chances of actually passing the class go way down when including all the regular homework, tests, and labs throughout the semester. And I had intentions of turning in that paper, but you know what they say about the road paved with good intentions. I procrastinated for several months and then ultimately forgot about the paper until the day it was due, and I was reminded of it by a classmate while sitting in the cafeteria at lunch. There was surely a moment of panic on my part, as biology was right after lunch, but somehow I convinced myself I could still pull something off between my bowl of cereal and the classroom. And since the library sat between the two buildings, I focused my attention there. I'm old, but we actually did have the internet when I was in college, and with about 20 minutes until class, I found myself in the library computer lab searching around for a usable article or research paper on an animal. And I don't recall if I had previously declared what animal I chose, if I was given an animal, or if I was just supposed to surprise the professor, but in my research, I ended up with a fairly lengthy 3 to 4 page document on turtles. And since I was short on time, and on brain cells apparently, I chose to continue my foray into a life of crime and user laziness and skip the extra 5 to 10 minutes it would have taken to copy and paste the article into Microsoft Word and format it nicely. Instead, I just opted for the print button from the browser itself. Now, if you haven't printed anything off the internet in a while, one of the things browsers are kind enough to do for you is add some extra info on the page. At the top of the page, they'll generously add the URL of the site that said research paper is from, and at the bottom, they'll also leave you a little time and date stamp of when your heavily researched, fancy biology paper on turtles was actually printed. I didn't trim them off. Instead, I grabbed them off the printer, hit them with a quick staple, and walked across the mall area to the science building. No sweat, I was about to pass this class. Now, what you're probably aware of is that in many higher education institutions, an egregious act of plagiarism such as I had just committed is grounds for dismissal, or academic probation and a loss of financial support at the very least. Remember, 18-year-olds are knuckleheads and shouldn't be trusted to make the right decision in any circumstance ever. I was an idiot. It was about a week or so after I turned in my paper when our biology professor entered the auditorium-style classroom on a Wednesday and began his instruction for the day. He wasn't what I'd call a chipper man, but he was always cordial. And on this day, though, his mood was noticeably different. Rather quickly, he began letting us know that the research papers were still in the process of being graded, but he had some concerns about possible cheating going on. And instead of calling me out right there, which he probably should have done, he let us all know that he would stay after a few minutes if anybody was willing to come forward and chat about their indiscretions. Now, I spent the next 45 minutes or so with my stomach in knots, knowing my mistake, going through all the possible consequences, and of course, trying to get my buddies to stop laughing at my situation. And after class, I proceeded to go down front and own my transgression. I had no clue what to expect though, and I figured it wouldn't be good. And here's my best recollection on how it went. So, Dr. Martin, I didn't actually do my paper. Well, yeah, I kind of had some concerns about your paper, and I'm glad you come forward about it to chat with me. Was it the URL bar at the top that gave it away? Well, no, I wasn't exactly sure what that was, but I did receive a very similar paper from a girl in another class. He proceeded to pull out a paper that was nicely formatted and double-spaced, a model student by most measurements, of course. I'm sorry, sir. I'm just overwhelmed, and this is all new and so much work, and... He stopped me and he said, I understand. For your courage to come forward and to confess, I'd like to work with you to make this right. So last week, hopefully you were fortunate enough to see the video of the Plano High School student who's battled autism entire life give the commencement speech at his own graduation. A student who is known by his classmates to rarely speak any words at all. Through encouragement and help from his mother, he chose to get up and speak to a topic that he was non-ironically acting out in front of his classmates. He spoke to the idea of living an unexpected life, just as he, the student with few words gave his fellow classmates one of the most unexpected treats they had seen throughout their education, some of them probably knowing him since grade school. He was preaching and living the concept of doing the unexpected. If you haven't seen it, I hope you take the time to do so. We've linked it up below for you to view. So back to biology and Dr. Martin. In that moment of standing before a professor, confessing to a crime I shouldn't have committed, and I had no clue what to expect. But the unexpected absolutely happened. This man held all the cards. He could have had me removed from the university roll sheet, could have ruined my transcript, he could have removed my eligibility for all my scholarships, he could have handed me a phone and had me call my parents to have them drive 14 hours to come and get me. He could have slapped me with academic probation at the very least. But he didn't. Dr. Martin did the unexpected. He gave me a second chance. I got another week to redo the paper, which I graciously accepted and did. And when finals were over, I think I ended up with a B in his class. It was unexpected. Last week, my family and a few others had the opportunity to bless another family. They'd fallen on some hard times with job loss and transition, and we could just tell they were in need of a little extra help. We had the opportunity to do the unexpected. Now, fortunately for them, things have already started to turn around, and we're rooting for them every step of the way. But what about you? Is there a time in your life where you've experienced the unexpected? Is there someone in your life right now that you could do the unexpected for? It doesn't have to be money or grades. There are plenty of other ways to surprise and bless people. You just need to keep your eyes open for it. If there's anything I can help with, let me know. So to Seth Scott, thanks for your courage and encouragement to the unexpected. And to Dr. Martin, thanks for setting the example for me long ago about grace, mercy, and the unexpected. Until next time.